In the early 1920s, radium was marketed to the public as a modern miracle, a substance that seemed to defy the laws of energy conservation. The primary commercial use for this element was making watch dials glow in the dark, a luxury novelty intended for the wealthy. Painting these delicate numbers required high-precision manual labor, a task assigned to a workforce of young women spending their days hunched over factory workbenches. To achieve the razor-sharp point needed for the microscopic numbers, supervisors instructed the workers to use a technique called lip pointing. The women were told to place the tips of the camel hair brushes directly between their lips, causing them to ingest the glowing paint multiple times every minute. Internal records show that the executives were aware of the metal's toxicity. However, on the factory floor, they repeatedly assured the workers that the substance was harmless, knowing that acknowledging the danger would halt production. This wasn't an oversight, but a choice. The corporate leadership prioritized maintaining their production schedules and profit margins over the physical safety of the women on their assembly lines. While the factory continued to operate, a separate biological timeline began to unfold within the workers' bodies. For the human metabolic system, radium is a poison that mimics a vital nutrient. Unable to distinguish radium from calcium, the body erroneously locks the radioactive heavy metal directly into the cellular bone matrix. Within months, the consequences became catastrophic. Workers' teeth fell out, and jawbones started to literally crumble, relentlessly eaten away from the inside out. The women were so heavily contaminated that their skin and hair emitted a constant, eerie luminescence. Even their photographs, captured with chemical-based film, remain measurably radioactive to this day. To ensure that watch dials would glow for a luxury market, the manufacturing process effectively burned out the skeletal systems of the women painting them. As these biological failures became impossible to ignore, the corporate entities initiated a second timeline, the institutional slowdown. The companies deployed a campaign of active denial. They funded biased medical studies, bribed corrupt physicians, and questioned the workers' integrity to protect their corporate valuation. When the workers filed lawsuits seeking help for their medical bills, corporate lawyers used the grinding bureaucracy of the court system to stall the proceedings for years. The delay was a calculated tactic. Executives knew the biological timeline was faster than the legal one, and they waited with the certainty that many of the plaintiffs would die before their cases ever reached a settlement. The institutional response was to prioritize the financial health of the company over the survival of the people building it, using the slow pace of the law to outlast the rapid decay of the victims. Despite their failing health, plaintiffs like Evelyn Hart fought through years of litigation to expose the truth of the radium dials. These women were aware they wouldn't survive to see the end of the legal battle. They fought to establish a precedent that would legally hold corporations accountable for the health of their employees. Beyond the biological and legal timelines, there is a third clock that dictates the legacy of this era, the timeline of physics. This scale shows a human lifespan and the life of a corporation, both of which are dwarfed by the properties of radium-226. The element has a half-life of exactly 1,600 years. The executives, doctors, and lawyers involved in the cover-up are long dead, their names largely lost to history. But the workers they poisoned remain. A century later, the bodies buried in these localized cemeteries are still heavily saturated with the metal. If you pass a radiation detector over their graves today, the dials will still spike. Their bones remain a measurable radioactive monument to the cost of unregulated industrial growth. The final lesson of the radium brawls is that when a system claims a poison is safe, survival depends on looking past the marketing and at the physical reality of the machine.